What is up, heroes? Welcome back to another episode of Heroes of the Storm Beginner's Build. Today we're going to be taking a look at Zagara, the range specialist. Tons and tons of burst damage, wave clearing potential, lots of vision and utility with her creeps. We're going to hop into a game, show you some cool things, and a cool build for you to get started. So let's go.
The swarm endures.
Okay guys, so we find ourselves on the Garden Tower map. We're going to head to the bottom lane, and a couple things about Zagara real quick. He is kind of situational in the sense that you really only see him on a couple of maps. That's for a couple of reasons. He is sort of outclassed by Sylvanas in some ways. Of course, he is quite different in a lot of aspects, but Sylvanas tends to be the more picked sort of lane-pushing specialist that fits the same Zagara role. Apparently we have a MF Pallytime fan in here, and shout out to MF Pallytime, big viewer and watcher and all that shenanigans. But anyway, so yeah, tend to see Sylvanas picked quite often. However, Zagara does offer quite a few advantages, such as our creep, which is our trait. We can place it down and it spreads out. It gives us a little bit of bonus, some move speed bonus, some health regeneration bonus. And the awesome thing about that, this is whoopsies. Okay, cool. We have some teammates coming in, so we are able to reinitiate. But the awesome thing about that is that it also gives us vision. So on super objective heavy maps, you can definitely see how that could be useful. So we're just going to push this Sylvanas out of lane. Now, surprisingly, despite what I just said about Sylvanas being the more chosen pick, usually Zagara is actually a pretty good counter to Sylvanas because we do have our Hunter Killer. Let's go grab some health here from our Sippy Cup. We do have our Hunter Killer, which allows us to, we lock a target, we pick it, and then it follows them. This is the Hunter Killer right here, follows them until it's either destroyed or the target is destroyed. So let's take a look at our spells real quick. Well, first let's take increase regeneration on creep. That's going to be the first talent that we're going to take, and we're going to use our trait, our creep here, start spreading it out, gain some vision in a lot of different places. And Sylvanas actually has a really hard time clearing them because her only AoE spell, which is what the enemies need to take out the creep, her only one doesn't take it out immediately. So a lot of heroes have spells that take it out immediately, but not Sylvanas. So what we're going to do is actually come up here to get the seed. So Zagara spells, we have Baneling Barrage, which sends out a bunch of Banelings, deals a ton of damage in an AoE. Pretty decent spell, not bad at all for clearing out huge waves. You can really push waves super easily with it. I'll show you a method for that, but basically you want to group up and get them all together, whereas people tend to... Oh, here we go. And of course we do have our Hunter. Let's see, she's gonna go here. Oh, she didn't. Oh no! Oh no! We got trapped! Boxy, come back, let me kill you! But a little bit too overzealous on that part. But as you can see here, yeah, just a little bit of misplay. But the creep definitely gives us vision and is very useful on objective-based maps, especially with very important objectives. Looks like they're pushing out bottom. So going to come to defend this and go ahead and assist my team with the Garden Tower because there is potential that they're doing it here. So yeah, I keep getting... interrupted as I try to go over the talents. But yeah, so the second talent we're going to be taking is Envenom Spikes, which basic attacks have their range increase and deal a little bit of bonus damage over time. So you can see just kind of a extra, sort of a utility skill in the sense that it gives us some more range. Super useful as we are very pokey hero, and that extra range is amazing for us in particular. So just going to throw out some spells there. And finally, the long-awaited spell, which took me so long to get its name off, Infested Drop, which is our E spell, and we can actually use it. Sends out a little AoE, does a little bit of immediate damage, and then 2 Zerglings are summoned over there and deal damage to nearby targets. So we have a very, very interesting kit. Not so much an assassin, although people tend to play him like one. But if you're going to go for an assassin, I recommend a different hero. But he does have quite a bit of siege damage potential, sustained damage potential, and of course that utility from our vision and our creep, which our creep can be cleared. So it's not like the creep is an indestructible, thing. It definitely can be cleared, but if you place them around the map, it can definitely be an annoyance for the enemy team to deal with. So right now we should be contesting these Garden Towers as we did just win a team fight, and we do have a person advantage right now. So now getting a Garden Tower would be the logical next step here. I'm going to go ahead and assist my team. It looks like this Brightwing might take a stun there. Yes, they're going to pop some damage off on him. Let's see. Yes, alright, so we're able to take out that Brightwing and the Vol. I want to make sure you place your creep down not in the boss's AoE, whether it's a Garden Tower or not. You want to make sure that the AoE is not going to hit. So for our next talent, we're going to take Rapid Incubation. Sorry, guys, that took me so long to get through my talents today. I am a little bit rusty on the videos, but Rapid Incubation looks like my team is skirmishing mid, and I don't know why. We should be doing this already. But basically what it is, it's an active spell. We use it. It gives us some health back and some mana back. So we could use it on a 1-minute cooldown, I believe. So really, really good spell, and gives us some added sustain that we so desperately need. Uh-oh, this is dangerous. Really dangerous, actually. I definitely put myself in a very poor position. And the body block coming out from Kalthas. Oh my goodness, everything goes to crap when there is a Kalthas body block in his own teammate in this game. Just kidding, it's not his fault. It was actually my fault that I was in that position to begin with. But yeah, so, oh, please get away, Kalthas. No, my Kalthas. All right, well, we're going to head back to the bottom lane to push this lane now, continue soaking, because we are starting to fall behind a little bit on XP, and at this point, I think it's going to be next to impossible, or if not impossible, not even worth it to contest that, considering we could potentially lose this keep here, and with that, we would also be losing quite a bit of experience. We'd be down a little bit, and just overall, it would not be a fun time. So he has actually used his escape offensively, so I'm going to chase him down. However, it looks like our health is getting extremely low, and we did trade 1-for-1. Not the best, the most efficient trade, but however, now they don't have anyone down here in the bottom lane, so we're going to catch up in the experience pretty quick, considering we do have people in all the other lanes. So pushing her out was pretty good. Unfortunately, they did get a terror, and I could be playing a little bit better, but it seems to be, it's like the YouTuber curse or something like that. I don't know, some people call it, where as soon as you start recording, you just start playing terribly, and a lot of this is my fault, and I clearly can see the mistakes I'm making, but I don't know, maybe, I think it's just a myth. I'm just playing poorly, but anyway, okay, I'm just going to tell that Nazebo to back off. So, something interesting, this is quick match, and something you won't really see in, you know, higher levels of play, and, you know, high Hero League, Pro League matches, they're level 10, so we can't fight. But it's usually, you won't see two hard-hitting specialists, such as Nazebo and Zagara, picked together, let alone individually. They're pretty rare to see in high levels of play now individually, but even more rare to see together, because it's a super weird team comp. Okay, so over here we have quite an interesting ability to chase down opponents due to the fact, uh-oh, what the heck was that? That was super weird. But I was going to say due to the fact that the creep also gives us some speed, but didn't come enough in here. Uh-oh, what do we got here? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Chase him down. Oh, we're going to get walled, so want to be super careful over there. So yeah, we're going to back up here. Looks like this Sylvanas is extremely overextended. We're going to be taking Devouring Maw for our heroic ability. And basically what Devouring Maw does is we place it in an AoE. It's super, super iconic. But okay, here's how you clear waves pretty quickly with the Baneling Barrage. You want to kind of get in the middle of them, group them all up, and always be spreading your creep. That's the other thing. But basically the Maw, what it does, it comes out after a short period of time, and it engulfs all the enemies in the area in the Maw, and they're actually disabled for a couple seconds, completely removed from the battlefield until the Maw ends. So it looks like some shenanigans is going down over here. Gonna just place some Banelings down. We do have quite a lot of range on Zagara, so want to be using that to the best of our ability, as well as maintaining our... Nazebo definitely out of position here. Just going to catch her out. Yeah, do a little bit of zoning. A lot of people use this Baneling Barrage sort of offensively as a main attack, and that's usually not the most effective way to use it from my experience. There are times when that's fine, you can use it that way, and you know, a lot of times it is fine. Like right here you see, not only are we going to hit the wall or one person from that, but I used it because we were getting a lot of value out of that by hitting a huge group of minions. On top of that, we were hitting a couple of structures, so its main benefit is that it does have quite a large AoE. However, it's you know, a single attack damage isn't so strong, so if you're just using it as like a single target attack, not very strong at all, which is what people tend to use it as. So it's I'm gonna try and get across here. So, okay, so we do have the huge Ravenous Spirit coming out from the Zebo. That could potentially do a lot of damage, however, not so much kill potential. So it looks like we're not gonna be able to finish them off. And what we haven't really used here much is our rapid incubation. Haven't really got a chance to use it much, but we are going to look to use that soon as we are getting kind of low on our resources. However, you want to make sure you're safe because it is a channel, so we're going to place it down. We are being chased over here. We do have our maw ready to go if need be. However, I'm going to tell my team to back up, and we're going to head over here and get some Baneling Barrage, get some everything out on them. Okay, place down our Hunter. And Hunter is really good, or excuse me, Hunter Killer is really good against stealth targets for a couple reasons. One, it locks to, here we have a chance to land a Great Maw. I'm just going to use it to zone because it also does block enemies. However, we are walled in, so we're not going to be able to get much value out of it. But that is something that I don't see many people do. Use it as sort of a wall, which is maybe not the most efficient use out of it, but it definitely is a use out of it. And yeah, so as I was saying, we're going to kill this Sylvanas. That's totally not what I was saying, but that's just going to be the case anyway. So yeah, we're going to take out the Sylvanas. Now we have the opportunity to take this Garden Terrors. They do have a couple down. There is one. So yeah, so what we're going to do when they have a stealth hero, we're going to take Mutalisk, which essentially gives it more range and it flies so that it can follow down stealth targets a little bit easier over terrain and such like that. The other option is to actually take the Groove Spines, which allows you to, it does some more damage and stuff like, this is dangerous for us. Gonna back off, place some, get our rapid incubation on. Oh, we canceled it by accident. It's on a 45-second cooldown, by the way, guys. Okay. That guy's getting awfully close, man. So as I was saying, you can place down your Hunter Killer. It will follow the stealth target. So really good against Nova, Zeratul, etc. Also really good against... That's kind of what I was talking about how it counters Sylvanas, because it kind of does outrange Sylvanas' main spells and makes it really difficult for her to harass us while we're able to get some free harass on her. So... looks like this Garden Terror is being chased down by a bunch of enemies, and cue some random hilarious chase music here. That's definitely what is in order. But we're going to continue to defend this tower here and head back up to try to assist our teammates. He is quite in trouble here. So we're going to head up here. Don't want to look for a full engage as they do have 5 and we don't. So I'm going to just ping for assistance down there. And Boxy just used his only escape. So this is a good opportunity to jump on him. But my team not going to be able to follow up as of yet. Always want to be placing down the creep. Something I haven't been utilizing enough in this game. Because like I said, not only does it give us a little bit of a bonus, but it also gives us some vision. However, you don't want to just face check places blindly just to get some creep off. So gonna do here is let's get a maw over there. That is the maw. We did kind of block out the enemies from running away from that Ravenous Spirit, which potentially could have dealt a huge amount of damage to it. So that is a little bit unfortunate, but I was actually hoping my team would be able to follow that up. The thing is, it's a lot easier to follow up something like a huge maw when you do have a warrior on your team. Not making excuses, but it's definitely a lot more viable when you have someone who's able to do that, initiating and following up, such as a huge warrior, such as ETC, who can then wombo it into his heroic ability, and then massive combos ensue. So that's kind of how you want to use Maw. You can use it defensively, offensively. It's very, very, very versatile, and it can really change the tides of team fights. So it's not something you really want to waste. It's on quite a long cooldown, 100 seconds. That is quite a hefty cooldown for what it does. So like I said, really good, and if you place it well and you do time it correctly, it can be absolutely huge. So we're gonna just push out this lane a little bit and then go to help our team, who are currently defending the mid keep, which is very, very important that we try our best to defend this. When defending against the Garden Terror, it is very important to take out the plant first, because that is what's going to be dealing the brunt of the damage to your structures, and on top of that, it's going to lock it down so that your structure is not going to be able to shoot any shots, so that it's not going to be dealing the damage that you want it to. So take out the plants first. I think I made my point clear. So next time we're going to be taking Brood Expansion. Allows us to place down 2 Hunter Killers. This is where our burst really starts to get quite impressive and quite decent. And so we're just going to use that. We could actually use both of them on a single target if need be. Another good option is to kind of spread them out if they do have multiple stealth targets, or you want one for damage, one for, you know, to keep the stealth target out of play. And that's, you can really just see the versatility there as well. So Nazeebo, a specialist with quite a few specialties, but also has quite a few areas where he does excel. So we should be taking a Mercamp here. However, it doesn't appear that my team would like to do some. So I'm just going to ping, as they do have 2 down and we have 4 up. So we have 3 down against their 2. Or we have, excuse me, 4 up. Uh-oh. Some dangerous shenanigans going on here. Gonna place down another little creep just to get some vision there. And let's head up here as we do have some vision. And once again, gonna place some more down. Always, always, always want to be placing down that creep when you do have, especially when you have the max charges. It charges up to 3 times. So when you have the max charges, you want to make sure you're really utilizing that to the... Oh my goodness, a great polymorph coming out from Brightwing. That was fantastic. And it looks like we're going to get blocked off by the Nazeebo wall, which does a ton of damage to us. And it's so annoying when you're playing a squishy hero how much damage that actually does. It's actually pretty ridiculous. Looks like our team does need help. We're going to head over here to prepare for the seeds, which will be coming up in 15 seconds. And just place down our creep every which way. Get as much vision as we possibly can to be as prepared as we possibly can. And the other great thing about Nazeebo, we have quite a lot of range. You can see it's really a substantial amount of range, and we could really, between that and the vision that allows us to see further, it really lets us kind of harass enemies before they even get a chance to see us. So really awesome. And it looks like now my team is going to look to take down this terror here, as they do have a couple of enemies bottom, so this should be good for us, a good opportunity for us. We're going to always, once again, keep up our rapid incubation when we are low on resources. So a couple things you do need to manage between the creep, the rapid incubation, and etc. But overall, Zagara is not the most beginner-friendly character, I would say, but he can be if you play him that way, if that makes sense. Took me a while to pick him up, not going to lie, but it's once you get the hang of him, he's actually pretty simple, pretty straightforward. It's just a matter of being able to manage all your resources and your abilities, because it's very important to be spreading the creep. If you're not doing that, you're definitely better off playing a different hero, maybe Sylvanas, or just there's so many other heroes you could be playing instead if you're not utilizing that creep to the fullest extent. So this is going to be dangerous here, as we could have potentially got walled. That would have been really bad for us, but it looks like Vala is going to initiate with some heavy damage on my team, so I'm going to just harass him out with Hunter Killer. You see that, and I believe maybe a Flame Strike from the Kel'Thas, but between those really nuked them down super hard. So yeah, gonna see if, let's see, uh-oh, we're taking a lot of damage here. I'm kind of waiting for that Nazeebo to use his Ravenous Spirit, as potentially that could deal huge damage to us. So I want to counter that with my Maul, which could then, you know, preventing that huge damage would be a huge deficit for them. So I'm just going to push out here. It looks like they are going to look to get mid. They're just zoning back and forth between mid and here. So I'm going to place down some creeps either which way and in between when I get the chance. Okay, it looks like we do have a terror pushing out. What we really need right now is to hit level 20. So I'm going to push out level... Oh, I'm going to tell my team to back. Day 20, don't fight. I'm going to tell my team to back out, as they are level 20, and we want to get level 20 before we do initiate in a fight. So luckily... This is a rare occurrence, guys. Don't get used to this. But luckily, my team did listen and back out in time for us to continue farming and get to level 20. As the level 20 disadvantage, that would be absolutely huge for them and give them a major advantage going into that fight. So we don't want to... We want to make sure we absolutely avoid that at all costs. Looks like there is going to be a little bit of a skirmish. We just need a little bit more experience, and fighting, especially 5v4. However, it looks like they are doing an amazing job, and they did secure the mercenary camp surprisingly without any deaths. We just need a little bit more, maybe 1 or 2 more minions. There we go. Now we can fight. So I'm going to head back over here immediately, as I believe they did blow a couple of heroic abilities. However, at the same time, they did get quite a few enemies low. So we have a couple options here. If they have a lot of assassin-y characters, we can go Bolt of the Storm, which is what we're going to do. It's a blink. It allows us to, it gives us a little bit extra survivability that we don't really have as Zagara, and we so desperately need. So I'm just going to ping theirs. Most likely they are at one of their camps, so I'm just going to ping that because that is what I expect, and we could let the Nova go first. If they're not here, then they're probably at the other camp, and that is fine, because we could just focus them down. Go get them! So low! Well, not able to take him out, but it's all good. Now we can follow up by taking this camp here, as we just got that Zagara solo. She definitely has to back, so I'm just going to start this. Let's see, place down some... Uh-oh, looks like there is some action going on here. So going to place that just sort of as a zoning tool. I know I just said it's not meant to be like a 1 versus 1 tool, but we're going to use it as a zoning tool. Going to use Blink of the... Oh! Blink of the Storm, barely able to blink out. This is dangerous. Even the creeps are dealing a lot of damage to us and potentially could land the final blow. So a little bit dangerous. I feel like my team wasn't as committed as we maybe should have been to either fighting down the creeps or fighting down the enemies. And I feel like we could have taken out that mercenary camp, before they even got there. And especially since it was 5v4, once we sent that Sylvanas back, we probably could have won that fight relatively easy. However, it looks like we weren't committing. We did get quite a lot of damage, quite a huge burst on us early on, so that made it a little bit difficult for us to recover in that fight and was a huge deficit in that. So kind of unfortunate, but hey, what are you going to do? That turned really quickly. You know, that could have easily went very well in our favor. However, it didn't, so I'm not going to complain about it. We're going to head top. It looks like Nova's just sitting around with extremely low health. I'm not sure exactly what she's trying to get accomplished with that low health. Not much you could really do. But they do have a absolutely huge wave here. So I'm going to start blowing my cooldowns on them over here, as that is really the only way we're going to be able to whittle this down. If not, we're going to lose both keeps in the form of this keep at top as well as the keep at the bottom with the enemy Terror actually pushing. So super difficult to manage all of these different situations at once. They do have an enemy Nova, so I'm just being a little bit careful when I am in lane, as potentially that could really hurt us. I'm going to save my 100 killers for the plant, expecting it to come out at any moment now. Let's see, where's that plant, baby boy? Actually, you got a plan for me? There it is. Okay, so throw 100 kill on it. Seems to be all we are going to need. The Phoenix doing a good job of keeping the enemy siege camp at bay. We're going to head back mid to continue defending. We do have three creep stacks. We want to make sure, like I said, we're always using that when possible. A little bit difficult to manage at times, but you really, really want to be managing that. It's super important to do so. So we're not able to get that. That Kel'Thas. However, nice cleanse coming out from Brightwing, and a huge flame strike coming out from Kel'Thas, which is going to do a lot of damage. And the Nazebo with an amazing Ravenous Spear going to chase down the enemies and get nice 2 kills. So really, really good job on our Nazebo. And that worked out really, really well for us. However, we now need to push our lead. They have a ton of seeds and are going to get another terror, so we really, really need to contest this. They already got it, but we need to get something for this. We can't just keep letting them get these terrors and all this stuff for free. So just going to send these out, sort of a zoning tool. Once again, it did hit this. Oh, what was that kill that we just got? I'm not sure, but what we're going to do is make an attempt to farm and get this siege camp here. This is a little bit sneaky, a little bit risky, but I believe we could do it. I'm going to place this creep out just for vision. That was super dangerous and risky, because if they were in there, if even 1 or 2 of them were in there, we don't really have an escape. We do have our Bolt of the Storm and our creep, but other than that, we don't really have much going for us as an escape. But I'm gonna, that was kind of based off of instinct. So, but I'm going to chase down this Nazebo and potentially catch him out of position, and nice wall from our Nazebo. So now we are in a huge advance. What we really need to be doing now is pushing stuff down, and whether that's mercenary camps or towers, and it looks like we are going to opt to get this tower. They do have another tower that we're going to be forced to defend, so we're going to head to the bottom to defend this. Started from the middle, now we're at the bottom. It's the new Drake song remix. And looks like he doesn't really know where he wants to go. We don't really know where we want to go. And we're all just completely discombobulated and confused. So the good thing here is he's not really getting much done there. And what the team is doing is stalling for their Nazebo to come back to make it an even 5 versus 5 fight. However, we are now in a great position as they do have a Terror who is not the best, not the most optimal for a team fight. So it's really 5 of us against 3 of them plus a Terror, which is like I said, not as good as having an actual hero, usually, not always, but it's usually not as good as having the hero would have been if it wasn't in the Terror in terms of straight up team fight. So they're kind of just stalling and trying to get down this plant as soon as possible. Okay, we are able to take it out. Make sure we don't get polymorphed. Oh man, the huge silence. And potentially, if we could take out this Vala, that would be really, really big, actually. Oh! Okay, that's... Oh man, wow. Okay, wow. That's all I can say, wow. I'm gonna fail. Oh man, how many... I whiffed so many Maws this game, guys. I'm not gonna lie. That is not a good example of how to use Maw. Okay, we do have some vision on us, so this is dangerous, and I was trying to get somewhere safe that I could actually use my rapid incubation. However, the vision allowed them, the Sylvanas, to pick us off. So we are currently down 1 person. Not having my best game today, guys, not gonna lie, but oh boy. Oh boy. Oh yeah, they have a... Oh, we both have healers. What am I talking about? I was going to say, oh, they have a healer, we don't. But that's not an excuse I could use. Because we both have the same exact healer, Brightwing. Once again, no warriors, which makes this a little bit weird of a composition. But no excuses, because they don't have a warrior either. So their composition is actually almost similar. Almost the same to us in terms of... We have 3 of the same heroes. Or, no, 2. 2 of the same heroes, but very, very close to us in terms of team composition. So no real complaints. However, they are pushing down pretty hard, and we are going to be down for another 14, 13 seconds, 12 seconds, not 10 seconds. So it's going to be super difficult for us to defend this. However, it looks like my team's getting super aggressive in this defense. Going to be able to zone out the enemy Sylvanas, who's going to be forced to use her only escape. However, now they're going to be able to get all these seats for almost free while we are forced to sit back and defend. So this is, it's kind of like, we're kind of like, we just don't get to join the party in terms of the seeds. So a little bit sad and depressing, I guess you could say. But, oh, looks like the Sylvanas may have overextended. We're going to be able to take her out. And Vala also overextended, going to get taken out. So now all we have left is, oh, huge. Oh, man, a huge flame thrower coming out from the enemy Kael'thas. Super, super huge damage this late in the game. And the longer the games go, the stronger Kael'thas gets. Now, we do both have a Kael'thas, so it's not really too big of a deal. However, we do absolutely need a Terror, as they are going to get one. So we need to make something happen here, because we can't just keep reacting to the enemies, or we are absolutely going to lose. That is a recipe for disaster if you're always on the defense. So I'm going to... Oh, look at how grouped up these are. I'm going to go ahead and try to take these out. Looks like the enemies are pushing, or they have some mercenaries pushing pretty hard. Oh, Nazebo following us, so I'm going to just kind of get ready to drop a Maw if they decide to come any closer. Nice flamethrower coming... Oh. I was going to say nice flamethrower coming out from my friendly Kael'thas, but I don't think it made contact. However, still, we're able to do a bit of zoning. So they're over here. They're looking to get some objectives. They're looking to get some mercenary camps, and we really need to contest this, or that's going to spell absolute disaster. Now, they do have one back, just getting the Garden Tower right now, so now would actually be a good time to contest this if they are here. It doesn't look like they are, so this might be dangerous as they go for all-in push. So we're kind of backed up against the wall, as making it super difficult. However, now that they have 2 people back, now is actually a really good time to jump on this Nazebo, because that's how you want to do it, boys. So, oh man, I really want to avoid that super bad, because they're tearing us apart with all this poke. Tons of poke, just absolutely wrecking us and making us unable to do the damage that we want. So just going to, let's see, zone out the enemy Terror and stay at bay. See if we can land them all. Throw out them all. We are able to hit the Nazebo. However, the Sylvan is able to burst us down super quickly. Overextended, I was taken out. So the Nazebo, our Nazebo, not going to be able to do much with his Ravenous Spirit, as we are not in a favorable position to be able to initiate. It looks like the Nova clone coming out, getting a little bit tricky, and the enemy Ravenous Spirit coming out. However, going to be able to almost immediately take down that Kalthas. You can see how some of these heroes really scale into the late game and are able to just deal ridiculous amounts of damage, whereas early game it would not be able to do anything comparable. So the enemy is just going to be able to whittle down the core. So good game to the enemy team. I was going to give them a random name, but they don't have one. So yeah, good game. Quite interesting match. Definitely a few misplays on my part. Could have done better, but it is what it is, guys. So I hope you guys did enjoy, did kind of learn some stuff about not only Zagara, but also just the game in general, and, you know, objectives and when to back off, because quite a few times I was quite overextended, a little bit overzealous this game, and learn from your mistakes, guys. So that is what I will be doing as well. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Thank you so much for watching. If you did, don't forget to subscribe. Check out my other Heroes of the Storm Beginners guides, and with that said, that is all. Peace!